next level.
Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, Editor-in-Chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. We are taking center stage today on the Own It Publishing platform, and I have a returning featured business owner here with me. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on in. Hello. What's going on, Jameela? How are you, sis?
Hey, I'm doing good, Tiffany. Thank you again for welcoming me back on the program. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Thank you again. It's nice to be back on your platform. I definitely enjoy it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And y'all, oh my goodness, this lady right here is definitely a girl powerhouse. She is just amazing at what she does. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a moment to just introduce herself to those who don't know her and tell you a little bit about what she does.
Sure. Thank you, Tiffany, for the introduction. I am Jameela Adams. I am the founder CEO of Jameela Adams at Your Service. And what I do, I am a website designer consultant, marketing consultant, excuse me. And my whole goal is to help business owners, entrepreneurs, 40 plus, women 40 plus, help them to navigate their website. I want them to have the confidence to put their site together and to also know how to market their business. It's one of those things that is a passion of mine. And my goal is to help you find your passion and to bring it out into life. So that is what I do. I am also a mom, wife, nana, sister, friend, but I'm also one of the authors of the first volume, the Becoming a Girl Powerhouse, Volume 1. And in that process, I learned so much about myself as well as others. And that helped me become more in tune with my business practices, to learn how to not be in fear, to learn to face my challenges and be confident in doing so. So that's what I want to give to other business owners, such as you, Tiffany, and others, to have the confidence to step forward to bring that passion project to life, no matter what it is. And that's what I'm here to do, to help serve and to do so.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much, Jameela. And you are absolutely wonderful at what you do. And I just really enjoy just working with you because you are so inspirational. I mean, you wear so many hats. I mean, again, mom, nana, wife, entrepreneur. An entrepreneur in itself is
Yes.
already just a huge beast to try to slay, right? So, I mean, when you are juggling all these things and you're wearing all these hats, like, how do you keep it together? Like, like just how do you
Well,
find
with
let's
lots
just
of
say
coffee and lots of faith. Like I said, with lots of coffee and lots of faith. Every morning I get up, I do my devotional, I take time out to sit with my creator. It helps me to put a good start to my day, even when things do miss the mark throughout the morning, because this morning was a little bit challenging, but I was able to face it with a smile, with joy in my heart, and to get up and just move forward. That's what gets me going, honestly. The love of my family and friends, especially my husband, who's very supportive of what my endeavors are. But just to be able to give thanks. I think all of us should have a heart of gratitude and a heart to serve. And that's honestly what gets you through it. At least for me, it does, because I know that there are people out there who are struggling and who need help, not just with business, but just in life in general.
right.
And sometimes you have to take a step back and say, you know what, I may have a challenge today, but there are people who are dealing with a lot more than what I'm going through right now. And I'm very grateful to be in the position that I'm in. So that's what helps me move forward.
Yeah, and man, having that attitude of gratitude is just the ultimate game changer, right?
It really is. It
You know,
really is.
you take into perspective, like, okay, like for example, you and I were talking backstage, right? And you were telling me, about what you were going through, and I kind of explained to you a little bit about what I was going through as well. And you're like, wait a second, hold up. You know what? It's not so bad. And honestly, when I think about my situation, I'm like, it's really not so bad anyway. It could have been so much worse.
Right. You
So great.
know, that's the joy of having a heart of gratitude, to be able to say, you know what, it wasn't the best start, but I can make it a better ending. The finish will always be better. And that's just with anything in life. When I started my business, which will be 5 years, God, it's hard to believe, 5 years in October, I did it because I had something within me to share. I was suffering from burnout. I had just left my corporate job, and I was dealing with challenges with my youngest son, and I needed something to do for me. Once I got him back on track, I was like, you know what? I need to do something for me. I have all these skills, God-given talents. I need to do something with them. And that's what put the fire inside me to start my business. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. It still isn't easy. And like I said, 5 years, it will be 5 years. And there are challenges along the way. My goal is just to help others see their vision of success. That's another thing I did when I started my business, because I had to pivot a couple of times, especially during the universal timeout. When I started, yeah, the universal timeout. When I first started, I was a virtual assistant, doing things with a basic administration, which wasn't basic. I take that back. Nothing's basic about it. But I was doing more administrative work, more research, nothing technical, until, like I said, when everything kind of shut down, I said, let's pivot. You have the basics, you have the foundation, let's add on to it. So what I ended up doing was taking a 6-week WordPress class. And I'm like, okay, so I took what I learned from my previous work experience and put it together what I'm learning now. And that's helped me fine tune what I'm doing now. It was just collaboration of those two things that got me started. So when I started talking with people, networking, say, hey, I can help you with your website. Do you need help with it? And how can I help you put together a marketing plan? Things like that. Just something basic, because my background, I used to work for a newspaper, so I had advertising skills, marketing skills, whatnot. So that helped me put together my business. So that's how I got started with that. And it was a joy. It was a challenge, but it was a joy. Yeah. And then after pivoting, it became more of a task to stay on top of new trends, to be more visible on social media. And that right there is a whole different animal. Social media is not for the weak. It really isn't. So to be able to post and talk about your products, your services, or just put out inspirational sayings and words and things of that nature to get people to see you, that right there is a challenge, but it's a welcome challenge. So that's what I do to keep going as well.
Thank you so much, Jameela. Well, you mentioned challenges, and we're going to cut to a commercial break. But when we come back, I want to talk to you about some of those challenges that you have had and just kind of identify some of those as an entrepreneur. So we will be right back with Miss Jameela Adams. Be right back.
wish I had one of those gray suits.
We are back. That is one of the most fun commercials. Big Michelle Mupo with Mupo Entertainment. That is, yeah, I was back here dancing in my seat. It is just. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. We have returning featured business spotlight, Jameela Adams, CEO and founder of Jameela Adams at your service. So, Jamila, before we cut off to the break, you mentioned a few things about just kind of the journey, and you talked a little bit about challenges. You mentioned challenges a few times, and I want to talk about that. So, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've had as an entrepreneur, and just trying to build your business and just grow? So,
I think the most recent challenge I had to encounter was it was a devastating challenge, but I was able to recover. I had to rebuild my website. My website had the white screen of death, and I even talked about it in a blog post and on my podcast, which I'll talk about later. Anyway, I had to spend 2.5 days rebuilding my site because everything that I had, 4.5, 5 years worth of work, disappeared in 1 second. And
wow.
I was devastated. However, I was so frustrated I couldn't cry because I had to get back to work. So
Right.
not only did I have to put myself back on track, but I still have clients. I have to monitor their websites and walk them through their processes of marketing their businesses, because I have clients who plan on pivoting and just trying to help them see what's the best path for them to go on. So that was a challenge. When
Yeah.
your house is on fire, you still got to put out somebody else's fires too. So
Wow.
sometimes they say you got to pull the mask down, save yourself, and then work on everybody else, which is true because
It is.
that's what happened. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm glad I was able to do it because I had planned on changing the format of my site. I mean, I loved what I did, but I knew there was time to move forward from what I had been working on in the past. So
Mhm.
I drug my feet, kept putting it off. And finally, God was like, no, you need to work on this now.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how that happens? We
Yeah.
drag our feet on things, and it's usually going to be just something devastating
Yes.
that, God, source, whatever it is, whoever you believe in, God is going to just make that happen. I mean, just
Yeah.
go.
And that's what happened. The push. And you know what? I don't mind. I needed it to happen because
Yeah.
there were things about the way I was thinking. I needed to do some updates, and I was at a crossroads about my own design. So when I help clients with their designs and their ideas, I let them vent, get everything out, so they will have a better idea. Okay, this is what I need to work on. What am I supposed to do next? Who am I
Right.
supposed to reach? And that's more or less what I do when I consult my clients is like, first of all, who are you trying to reach? You know, are they this person, this avatar? And then when we get that squared away, I said, okay, how do you plan on reaching them?
Hmm.
We go through that whole process. And then once we get that squared away, I said, okay, now when we get to your website design, I give them 5 choices because everything else will be overwhelming. And it's a hard decision to make. So
Yeah.
I give people their 5 options, but my homework for them is to look at your peers or anyone in your industry or even outside of your industry and get a sense of who you would like to see at your
Mhm.
website and get an idea how you want that website to be designed, because this is your storefront. If you don't have a brick and mortar storefront, your website is your storefront. It's your personality that comes through, and that's what you want to portray.
Right.
So when talking with clients about that, they're like, okay, well, who are you? What do you do? How do you do it? And what do you want to portray? So we go through the whole process. And that can be a challenge because if they're not sure what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to put on, like I said, my consulting cap and say, okay, well, let's see what is the best, what's going to work best for you. What is
Yeah.
your personality like? Are you loud and bold, or you're subdued and quiet, or you're just the minimalist? And we just have to go through that whole process of what works for you and how can
Yeah.
we use that to attract clients, and just go from there. So yes, it's a challenge. That instance is a challenge because sometimes they don't know what they want. The client doesn't know what they want. And I'm not going to give you my idea, because then that means that's my idea. It's
Yeah.
how I want it to be. And that's not what I want. I want you to have a part in this decision making. That's why I'm very animate about entrepreneurs, business owners, small business owners being confident enough to navigate their websites, because this is you.
Right.
This is your store. And it's going to make or break how people see you. So that's one of the things I always try to um, challenge myself to make sure I explain it clearly to them and we get a good feedback. So that's
Yeah.
that. If there's a challenge, that's the challenge. Just making sure you have the right idea, the right design, the right verbiage, the right message that you want to send out. So if that's the challenge, that's a challenge right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it can be a challenge, but it sounds like it's a challenge that you are definitely up for, and can definitely help people get past. So,
Yes.
uh, so you, I mean, again, you are such a powerhouse. You were doing so many different things. What's your favorite way to relax?
Uh, Self-care Sundays. I enjoy listening to music, all kinds of music. It's funny, I rediscovered 90s house music. I listened to
Okay.
that in my car. But no, I take time to just to reflect on the work week, to check in with myself to make sure I'm okay, because there's no point in me doing all this if I'm not okay.
Absolutely.
And I just sit and either take care of myself, like do my own nails, like I said, listen to music. I sit and meditate. I go out for walks. Well, not recently because of the weather not being very cooperative. But overall, I just sit and reflect, and I just clear my mind because, well, as a business owner, entrepreneur, so many things are hitting you at once, and you hear so much noise, you can't really decipher what's the good noise compared to the bad noise. But I mean the good noise, the positive influence, the positive voices, but there are times when you have self-doubt. And there are times when you have imposter syndrome. I've
Hmm.
talked about that. And I find that the more in tune I become on my days off, the better off I will be. I will be a much better servant to others when I can figure out what is best for me and how to take care of me, and I can pass it on to others. Um, what is that saying? You can't pour from an empty cup, and it's true. If you are burnt out and you're just running yourself ragged with the hustle and bustle, then when it comes down to you wanting to help others, you can't because you're too tired. And I don't want to be that way, because I
Yeah.
have been that way in the past. I have been that way. So
Hmm.
I learned to just sit and be still and listen and then relax, take a day off, and then go back and get ready for the start of the week.
Yeah. I think people sometimes, especially in the hustle and bustle, they feel bad
Mhm.
about being able to just stop and be quiet,
Mhm.
and be still. And you can't punish yourself for being able to just take time for you and just be quiet and be in that moment,
Right.
be able to collect your thoughts, because we have so many thoughts that, I mean, we've got thousands and thousands of thoughts that are going on in our head every minute, and it's like you said, trying to decipher the noise, that negative, stuff that's going on there, because imposter syndrome, things like that, it does come up, and it
Oh
and
yeah.
it comes up for the best of us, right? Um, but like you said, when you have to, you have that cup, and I think with the cup, it has to be overflowing, and you really got to serve from that overflow, because when our cup is full and we're so full of joy and happiness and everything is in balance, that's when everything really really flows. That's
Yes.
when you don't have any situations going on. It's just riding that cool wave,
Yeah.
right?
And the
And
thing is, when we have those moments when we do have trials and the rough waters, we have that ability to say, hey, I know what it's like when it's calm. And
mhm,
I've been given the tools and the strength and the capabilities to power through the rough waters. The
right,
thing is just knowing when to recognize, hey, I need to par it back because I'm starting to become overwhelmed. And I think
right,
a lot of us, especially entrepreneurs, we
mhm,
don't listen to when it's time to par back,
right,
and we become burned out. And
mhm,
that's not a good thing, obviously, because it's not just your physical mind being burned out, but your body, burns out, and then your mental. You just
mhm.
you just become stressed, and nobody wants that, and you don't want to live with anybody that's like that either. But you have to stop and take time to refresh and renew and just rebuild and then move on and move on
Yeah,
to the next project.
yeah. When you're hectic like that, you're not going to serve anyone. So no, I just love this. So thank you. So
Mhm.
we're going to cut to another quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back with Miss Jameela Adams. We will be right back. And we are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit with our returning featured business spotlight, Miss Jameela Adams, CEO and founder of Jameela Adams at your service. So, we have been talking about her entrepreneurial journey. We have been talking about some of the ways that she can help us entrepreneurs and others out there, not just entrepreneurs, some of y'all that are just stuck and you're trying to build, you're trying to get through some of this techie stuff that can just make you like pull all your hair out, right?
True. Trust me, I know.
Stressed out that your hair starts falling out, okay? So,
I keep mine short.
but Shamila, this has been just so wonderful just catching up with you again. So, do you have any new stuff coming up or anything that you can share with the audience? I know you've got your podcast, so let's talk a little bit about that with the audience and just some of the things that you got going on that's coming up.
Sure. I'm so appreciative of that. The podcast, the Jameela Adams Experience, is an offshoot from my business. I remember years ago, I can't remember who the author said, but basically, if you want to be a key person of interest, you have to come up with these ways to get people to know you. So, obviously, writing a book, done that. The other is to put out papers, not done that, but put out a podcast. So, I decided to create a podcast. And the cool part about it was it's talking about my experience. However, as the show progressed and became um, more of an offshoot of my business, I started having other entrepreneurs and business owners and people who are just starting out in the world come onto the show. Um, I'm excited because it's a platform to where I can share, like I said, my experience, hence the name of the program, but others as well. And we build and grow community. I just want people to have a voice, especially for women over 40, since that's what I am, just to have a place where they can listen and get some feedback. and try to find out what's the best answers for them. Not saying I have all the answers, because I don't. I always joke I'm not a doctor. I only play one on the internet. Um, but the whole point is I put it out there so that way I can have other entrepreneurs who probably wouldn't get seen on the show talk about what they do, how they do it, how they can help others along with helping themselves. So this year, um, yeah, started in February. Yeah, was the Better Me, Better You theme for the year. So I have people coming talking about their life journeys as an entrepreneur, what projects they have, and how the grand scheme is how to help others be better and also improving the lives of themselves. So that was it's a beautiful challenge, hence the word challenge. It's a beautiful thing to have because I love hearing other people's adventures, their struggles, their triumphs, because it makes me feel like I too had those issues, troubles, and it helps me to say, okay, let's share this with others so that way they feel they're not alone. And
Right.
so to step out and do the things that they want to do. If you hear somebody saying, hey, I'm putting out a new book, this is what I want, I would love for people to hear it, to read it, and so on. Hey, I'm putting out a new program for my life coach business. I want to be able to have that platform for them to talk about it. So that was the main reason why I came up with the podcast, is just to have an opportunity to share our lives, our adventures, our disappointments together with others.
Love it. Love it. Look, we're all not alone out there, everybody. Just so you know.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the big message there, because we all go through similar struggles, similar celebrations, and no one in this world is alone, unless they want to be,
Right.
but there are so many resources, so many people out there to be able to love on you and just let you know that, hey, we got you too, because either we've been through it or we're going to go through it together. So I just think that's amazing what you're doing with that. So
Yeah,
awesome.
and that's why I did it.
That's awesome. So, Jameela, I tell you, whenever we get on this show, this time goes by so quickly. But
I
I
know.
just want to, before we close up, I would love for you to share some words of wisdom, words of encouragement with our audience today.
Sure. I when I close out the podcast, because I've always want people to feel inspired and to be encouraged. So when I close out the podcast, I always say, I want you to be inspired, be inspiring, be encouraged, be encouraging. But most of all, I want you to be you, and I'll chat with you next week. So that's what I do when I close out the program.
Awesome, awesome. Very good. Well, look, y'all, just be you, okay? Be comfortable in your own skin. Be comfortable to do the things that give you joy. And you know what? If there's some things that you don't know and you're trying to figure it out, reach out to people out there that have that knowledge and wisdom, like Jameela here. If you want a website, you're stuck trying to figure out how to market yourself and get yourself out there. If you're trying to figure out what the heck SEO means and how it works, reach out to Jameela because she can help you to start to navigate through all this and get the stress off you. Because you know what? Stress is that silent killer. And if we can get some of the stress off of us very easily by just asking for the help, let's get that stress off of us so it does not take us out. All right, everybody. We love you so, so much, Jameela. Thank you so much for coming and joining us once again. I
You're
look
welcome.
forward to seeing you again on the show and just watching all the amazing things that you're doing out there. So, sis, keep on shining bright. Everybody, we love you so much. Take
Thank
care, and we will definitely see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Take it to the next level.